Hey there fellow gamers, let's dive into the world of PS Vita where the graphics are so good they'll blow your mind. We are talking about the top 32 graphically impressive games that this little powerhouse has to offer. Think of it as a nostalgic trip down memory lane but with a lot of wow moments. From heart-racing adventures to stories that pull you in, each game on this list showcases the Vita's ability to punch way above its weight. So buckle up and get ready to be amazed by the sheer creativity and technical brilliance that these games exhibit, proving that the PS Vita was indeed ahead of its time in the gaming world. Killzone Mercenary. Killzone Mercenary is a game that redefines the first-person shooter experience on a handheld console. In this game, you step into the boots of Rayman Dana, a gun for hire in a world where loyalty can be bought. The plot of the game takes a detour from the usual Killzone narrative, dishing the standard good versus evil storyline. Here, you're not just fighting, you're earning. Every headshot, every hack, every mission pays off, literally. It's like the game saying, show me the money, and you are in this adrenaline-pumping, cash-grabbing frenzy whether you're going solo or diving into multiplayer. From a critic's lens, Killzone Mercenary really stands out in the PS Vita's game roster. Sure, it's running on the Killzone 3 engine, but while it might not have the PS3's glossy finish, it still is a technical marvel on the Vita. The controls? Smooth as butter. It feels like a full-blown console game shrunk down to fit in your hands. And the cool part, the game's got this loadout system that's all about making strategic choices. You're not just running around shooting, you're planning your moves and customizing your gear to create some serious chaos. The multiplayer is a blast too, even with its scaled down setup. It's about playing smart and collecting those valor cards. Killzone Mercenary isn't just a great way to pass the time on the Vita, it's the kind of game that reminds you why you bought the console in the first place. Wipeout 2048. This game is like jumping into a sci-fi movie where you are the star racer. Imagine zipping through neon-drenched cityscapes at lightning-fast speeds where the buildings are just a blur as you fly past them. Set in the year 2048, it serves as a prequel to the earlier Wipeout games, offering a glimpse into the origins of the anti-gravity racing championships. The game has these super sleek floating race cars and each one's got its own style and feel, and man, they are fast. Players have to navigate through a variety of tracks. Each track is diverse and presents its own set of challenges that require quick thinking and sharp reflexes. Players must master the use of various weapons and power-ups to outsmart their opponents and claim victory in these high-speed contests. In terms of the gameplay, it is clear that Wipeout 2048 is a gem in the racing genre. The graphics are stunning, demonstrating the PlayStation Vita's power with beautifully detailed environments and fluid animations. The controls are spot on, ensuring that even the fastest races feel exciting and controllable. The multiplayer mode is a standout feature, allowing for cross-platform competition that adds depth to the racing experience. Complementing the action is a soundtrack filled with energetic electronic music that enhances the game's fast-paced nature. Wipeout 2048 is more than just a racing game. It's a high-energy adventure that raises the bar for handheld racing games. Uncharted Golden Abyss. Playing Uncharted Golden Abyss is like diving into a blockbuster movie where you are the star, playing Nathan Drake, a smooth-talking, treasure-hunting hero, and this time the adventure's in your hands, literally. Set before the events of the original Uncharted series, you are on the hunt for a legendary lost city. The game's a wild mix of climbing ancient ruins, exploring dense jungles, and solving puzzles that would even make Indiana Jones sweat. Now let's talk about what makes this game a must-play. First off, the graphics are killer for a handheld game. It's like having a mini cinema right in your pocket. The story? It's classic Uncharted, full of twists, turns, and wisecracks that'll keep you hooked. The voice acting is top tier, making you feel like you are right in the middle of the action. And the game is very smooth and intuitive, using the Vita's touchscreen and gyro sensor in ways that are cool and not clunky. Multiplayer is a blast, adding even more fun to the mix. Uncharted Golden Abyss isn't just a great Uncharted game, it's an epic adventure that you can take anywhere. Severed. Severed throws you into the shoes of Sasha, a girl navigating through a surreal world after her family's tragic demise. The game is a wild ride, blending bright, eerie landscapes with a touch of the macabre. You're not just wandering through creepy forests and shiny caves, you're solving puzzles, dodging traps, and facing monsters that are as bizarre as they are menacing. The combat is all about swiping on your screen, but with a twist. You've got to be tactical and figure out each monster's attack pattern and hit them where it hurts. When it comes to breaking the game down, Severed is visually stunning, full of vibrant colors and dark themes, creating a world that's both beautiful and unsettling. The touch-based combat is a fresh take, making each battle feel like a mini strategy game. And here's the catch. The game leans a bit too much on status effects to ramp up the difficulty, which can get a bit monotonous. The battles, especially later in the game, start to feel more like a chore than a challenge. Despite this, Severed offers a unique experience with its innovative combat system. It's a game that could have been a masterpiece with a little more balance in its gameplay. Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus. Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus for the PS Vita brings the intense and challenging experience of the Ninja Gaiden series to a handheld platform. The game features Ryu Hayabusa, a skilled ninja, as he embarks on a perilous journey filled with formidable enemies and intricate levels. The gameplay is a blend of fast-paced combat and platforming, requiring precision and skill. Players must master a variety of weapons and techniques to overcome the game's numerous challenges. The plot, while not the primary focus, adds depth to the game's immersive world. It's a solid adaptation of the console version, retaining the core elements that define the series. The graphics are impressive for the Vita, capturing the game's dark and detailed aesthetic. The controls are well adapted to the handheld format, though they can be challenging to master. The game's difficulty is notable, providing a rigorous test for the player's abilities. Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus offers an engaging and demanding action experience that will appeal to fans of the genre. Velocity 2X. Velocity 2X is a game that's all about speed and precision. It's a unique blend of a vertical scrolling shooter and a side-scrolling platformer. You pilot the Coop jet, navigating through enemy formations and launching smart bombs. The new on-foot side-scrolling sections are a brilliant addition. They mirror key functions from the vertical sections, like boosting and tele-dashing, making the platforming feel like a fresh challenge with familiar tools. This integration makes the on-foot action feel like a natural extension of the space shooting, adding a coherent sense of place to the game. Let's talk about what makes this game stand out. The gameplay is super smooth and the visuals are crisp, making every level a visual treat. The platforming sections add a rewarding challenge to the game. Sure, there are a few levels that might feel a bit slow, but they are just a small bump in the otherwise thrilling ride. The boss battles are especially cool, mixing up the game's mechanics with some intense bullet hell action. Completing the game's 50 stages might be easier than its predecessor, Velocity Ultra, but getting a perfect score? That's where the real challenge lies. Velocity 2X isn't just a great game for the Vita, it brings back the thrill of mastering a level, something we haven't felt since the golden days of gaming. Mortal Kombat 2012. Mortal Kombat is like taking the classic beat-em-up experience on the go. It's got all the characters you know and love from the series, plus some cool extras just for the Vita. The gameplay sticks to what Mortal Kombat fans dig: fast, intense fights with all those crazy special moves and over-the-top fatalities. The story's there, but let's be real, it's all about the fighting. The Vita version spices things up with some new features that make use of the console's unique controls, giving it a fresh feel. It does a great job of bringing that classic Mortal Kombat action into a portable format. The new stuff, like touch controls and minigames, adds a bit of fun and mixes up the usual gameplay. The graphics are pretty sharp for a portable game and the fights run smoothly, which is key for a fighting game. It's a solid pick for Mortal Kombat fans and anyone into fighting games really. It's got that familiar Mortal Kombat vibe, but with a few new twists that make it worth checking out on the Vita. Metal Gear Solid HD Collection. The Metal Gear Solid HD Collection brings some of the Solid Snake's most iconic adventures to the PS Vita. This collection includes remastered versions of classic titles, offering a blend of stealth, action, and complex storytelling. The gameplay in these titles is renowned for its emphasis on stealth and strategy, requiring players to navigate through enemy territory undetected. The plot of each game in this collection is intricate and engaging, featuring deep narratives that have contributed significantly to the series' acclaim. The games have been thoughtfully adapted adapted to the handheld format. The graphics are impressive, showcasing the Vita's capability to handle detailed environments and character models. The controls are well optimized for the Vita, providing a smooth gameplay experience. It's a must-have for fans of the franchise and for those who appreciate well-crafted stealth action games. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Street Fighter Cross Tekken is a dream come true for fans of both franchises, merging the distinct styles of these iconic fighting games into one exhilarating package. The gameplay is a fusion of Street Fighter's tactical 2D fighting mechanics with elements from Tekken's character roster and combat style. The plot has a crossover narrative that revolves around a mysterious object that draws fighters from both universes into a grand battle. The game introduces the innovative tag team mechanic, allowing players to switch between characters mid-fight. This adds a strategic layer to the classic brawling gameplay. The character roster is impressively diverse, offering a wide range of fighting styles and special moves. The graphics are vibrant, with each character on stage bursting with detail and personality. The game's balance between the two fighting styles is well executed, providing a fresh yet familiar experience for fans of both series. While the crossover plot is more of a backdrop for the battles, it adds a fun context to the matchups. Street Fighter Cross Tekken is a shining example of how two distinct fighting game worlds can come together to create something genuinely exciting and new in the genre.
She's on the rope, Sly! Aim for the chest!
Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time continues the beloved series with its signature blend of stealth, platforming, and humor. The game follows Sly Cooper and his gang as they travel through time to prevent their history from being rewritten. The gameplay is a mix of stealth missions, engaging combat, and puzzle solving, with each character offering unique abilities. The plot is filled with witty dialogue and charming characters, making for an entertaining experience that stays true to the series' roots. The graphics are rich and detailed, capturing the unique animated essence of the Sly Cooper universe. The Vita's controls feel natural and responsive, making the stealthy escapades and acrobatic maneuvers of Sly and his crew a real joy. The game cleverly leverages the Vita's distinctive features, like using the touchscreen for intricate thievery and gyroscopic controls for navigating tricky spots, adding a layer of immersion to the gameplay. Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush for the PlayStation Vita offers a unique and immersive gameplay experience. Players take on the role of Kat, a young woman with amnesia who discovers she has the extraordinary ability to control gravity. Set in the floating city of XIII, the game combines elements of exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, as Kat uses her powers to navigate the city's various districts and unravel the mysteries of her past. The gravity manipulation mechanic is not only central to the gameplay, but also adds a fresh and innovative twist to the action-adventure genre. The game's cel-shaded graphics and art style are visually appealing, bringing the world of XIII to life. The controls are well tuned to the Vita's capabilities, making the experience of shifting gravity both intuitive and exhilarating. The story is engaging with a mix of intriguing character and plot twists that keep players invested. While the combat can sometimes feel repetitive, the overall experience is rewarding. Muramasa, the Demon Blade. Muramasa Rebirth is a visually stunning action RPG that brings the rich tapestry of Japanese mythology to life. The game features two characters, each with their own storyline, set in a beautifully rendered world inspired by traditional Japanese art. The gameplay is a blend of fast-paced combat and exploration, with a focus on mastering a variety of unique swords and combat styles. The plot weaves through a series of captivating narratives, immersing players in a world filled with demons, samurai, and ancient legends. The attention to detail in both the art and the gameplay mechanics sets it apart from other titles on the platform. The combat system is both fluid and challenging, offering depth and variety that keep the gameplay engaging. The stories of the two protagonists add replay value and depth to the game. Macross Delta Scramble. This game takes you right into the middle of the Macross Delta anime storyline. You're dealing with this crazy VAR syndrome that turns people into zombie-like creatures, and you're part of the team trying to stop it. The game lets you play from two different sides of the conflict, giving you a taste of both perspectives. It's a mix of flying around in variable fighters and some RPG stuff. Plus, there are extra missions that pull in stories from other parts of the Macross world. It's a pretty solid game for the Vita. The controls are a big plus. They've really used the Vita's dual sticks well, making flying and targeting feel smooth and natural. The action's been ramped up from previous games, which keeps things exciting. They've toned down some of the RPG elements, but the focus is still on the action and piloting, which works well. The main downside is that the missions and areas can get a bit repetitive after a while, especially since it mostly sticks to the Delta storyline. But the game looks great, and having the original music from the series is a nice touch. Soul Sacrifice Delta. Soul Sacrifice is a role-playing action game that stands out for its dark and immersive narrative. The gameplay revolves around a unique mechanic where players must choose between sacrificing parts of the protagonist's body or items in the world to cast powerful spells. This choice-driven system adds a deep moral and strategic layer to the gameplay. The plot is equally compelling, set in a grim world filled with grotesque monsters and a rich backstory that unfolds as players progress. It's a bold and innovative game. The graphics are impressive, capturing the dark and eerie atmosphere of the game's world. The sacrifice mechanic is not only a unique gameplay feature, but also ties in seamlessly with the game's narrative, making each decision impactful. While the game can be challenging, it offers a rewarding experience for those who engage with its deep combat system and story. Soul Sacrifice is more than just an action RPG. It's a thought-provoking journey that pushes the boundaries of conventional gaming narratives. Little Big Planet PS Vita. This game brings the charming and creative world of Sackboy to the handheld platform with remarkable success. The game retains the series' signature blend of platforming, puzzle solving and customization. Players navigate through beautifully crafted levels, each bursting with imagination and new challenges. The plot, while lighthearted, serves as a delightful backdrop for the inventive gameplay. The real magic of Little Big Planet PS Vita lies in its level creation and sharing tools, allowing players to design, build and share their own levels. The visuals in this game are striking, with each element rendered in a style that captures the unique charm of the series. The touchscreen controls are seamlessly integrated, making the gameplay experience smooth and enjoyable. The level editor is a highlight, providing extensive options for creative expression. The game's emphasis on community, encouraging players to share and explore each other's creations, greatly extends its replayability. Little Big Planet PS Vita is more than just an excellent platformer. It displays the power of imagination and community in gaming, demonstrating the Vita's capability to offer rich, engaging experiences. Dead or Alive 5+. Dead or Alive 5+ brings a high-octane blend of martial arts action and engaging storytelling to the small screen. This iteration of the renowned Dead or Alive series, developed by Team Ninja, offers a seamless transition from its console counterparts, maintaining the series' signature fast-paced combat and visual flair. The game's plot weaves through a series of intense battles, each character bringing their unique style and backstory to the forefront, creating a rich tapestry of narratives that keeps players invested beyond mere fisticuffs. We find Dead or Alive Plus to be a commendable addition to the PS Vita's library. This game's ability to retain the essence of its console versions on a handheld device is impressive. The game's standout feature is its combat system, which strikes a perfect balance between complexity and intuitiveness, making it welcoming for newcomers yet challenging for veterans. The game's story mode adds a compelling narrative layer, enhancing the overall experience with its engaging storyline and character development. Graphically, the game is a marvel, and the addition of Vita-specific features such as touch-based controls provides a unique twist to the gameplay, making it feel fresh and tailored for the device. Rayman Legends. Rayman Legends on the PS Vita is a total blast, capturing all the fun of its big console brothers in a way that feels just right for gaming on the go. This sequel to Rayman Origins keeps the same quirky vibe and smooth gameplay, but throws in some cool new twists. You're jumping around, battling baddies, grabbing lums, and saving teensies with some awesome new characters like Barbara and her crew, plus Murphy to mix things up. The game's packed with over 120 levels, including some revamped classics from Rayman Origins, so there's a lot to explore and enjoy. The graphics are top-notch, making every level pop with color and life. Those musical levels? Absolute genius. They sync up your platforming moves with the beat, and it's just so much fun. Plus, you can team up with a buddy for some co-op action, which is always a good time. Sure, the Vita version was missing a few bits at first, but a quick update fixed that up. Bottom line, Rayman Legends nails it, delivering a platforming experience that's both familiar and fresh. Unit 13. Unit 13 on the PS Vita is like a breath of fresh air for shooter fans looking for something cool to play on the move. Ditching the usual story-heavy approach, this game throws you into over 35 missions where you're either sneaking around or going in guns blazing. It's pretty neat how you can either fly solo or team up with someone online. The controls feel surprisingly like you're playing on a bigger console, even though getting into cover can be a bit clunky at times. Using the Vita's touchscreen for stuff like reloading adds a nice touch without being annoyed. Unit 13 hits some sweet spots but also misses a few. The mix of missions and different characters, each with their own special gear and skills, keeps things interesting. Leveling up your guys adds a nice layer of depth to the game, but not having a story to tie everything together makes the missions feel a bit random, like you're just ticking off a to-do list. Also, the enemies can be pretty unpredictable. Sometimes they are sharp and other times they are clueless, which can get a bit annoying. Still, if you're into chasing high scores and tackling new challenges every day, Unit 13 has got enough to keep you coming back for more. It's a solid choice for quick, action-packed gaming sessions. Rogue Legacy. Rogue Legacy is a cool mix of old-school platforming with a twist of roguelike randomness. You're basically hopping through this ever-changing castle, playing as different members of the same family. Each one's got their own weird traits, like being super tall or seeing the world upside down, which keeps things interesting. The game is all about exploring, fighting off enemies, and dodging traps, but the catch is that every time you play, the castle's layout changes, so it's always a new challenge. The game's simple yet appealing graphics and smooth gameplay make it a perfect fit for the Vita. The whole idea of playing as a family tree of heroes, each with their own quirks, is pretty unique. It keeps you on your toes because you never know what you're gonna get with each new character. Plus, there's this cool part where you upgrade your mana to unlock new stuff for your future runs. It's not just about getting through the castle, it's about building up your legacy, which adds a whole other layer to the game. If you're into games that mix old school platforming with some unpredictable elements, Rogue Legacy is definitely worth checking out. It's challenging, fun, and keeps you coming back for more. The Walking Dead Season 1. This game really nails it when it comes to storytelling. It's like diving into a comic book that's come alive on your screen. The game mixes up regular controls with some neat touch features, and both work like a charm. The real deal here is the story. You are Lee, a guy with a shady past, who ends up looking after Clementine, this little girl. Normally, kid-focused plots aren't my thing, but this game gets you hooked on their journey. Every choice feels heavy, like it really matters, and you end up caring way more than you expect. But it's not all smooth sailing. The game can get a bit laggy, especially when you're about to make a big decision or move between scenes. This can yank you out of the moment, which is a bit of a bummer in a game that's all about the story. That said, the plot is so good that you kind of roll with these hitches. If you haven't played The Walking Dead on the Vita yet, you're missing out. It's an emotional roller coaster that sticks with you, and even with the occasional technical hiccup, it's a game that's worth your time. Guacamelee. Guacamelee on the PS Vita is a total blast, mixing old-school platforming vibes with a cool modern twist. You are Yuan, a a farmer who turns into a wrestling superhero, and your mission is to save your love from a bad guy named Carlos Calaca. The story is pretty light and full of chuckles, making it a fun ride from start to finish. The game looks awesome, with characters and worlds that are super detailed and lively. Plus, the Mexican-themed tunes in the background really set the mood. From a gamer's perspective, the game is a refreshing change of pace. It's got this open-world feel, where you can explore and backtrack, but the real star is the fighting. At first, the combat might seem a bit basic, but as you get deeper, it opens up with all sorts of cool moves and combos. The game gets you thinking too, with enemies and barriers that need specific moves to beat. There's also a bit of RPG flavor thrown in with hidden chests full of goodies that beef up your character. Even though it's not the longest game out there, it's got enough cool stuff to make you want to jump back in. Persona 4 Golden. It's like diving into a mix of high school drama and some seriously cool dungeon action. You're in the small town called Inaba, and things get wild when you and your new buddies start investigating a bunch of weird murders linked to a creepy TV channel. The game's got this awesome twist where you use personas, which are like spirit buddies, to fight in turn-based battles. But it's not all about fighting. You've got a whole life to live in this game, making friends, going to school, and every choice you make really counts. Persona 4 Golden has an amazing balance of intense battles and just living your best high school life. The game's deep with a ton of personas to collect and all these social links that affect everything from your combat strategy to how your story unfolds. The graphics are super sharp and the characters are really brought to life with some great voice acting. It's more than just a game. It's like stepping into another world where every decision matters. If you're into JRPGs and looking for something that's got a bit of everything, Persona 4 Golden is definitely worth checking out. Freedom Wars. Freedom Wars is not just another entry in the Monster Hunter genre. It stands out with its deep gameplay and customization options. Set in a dystopian future where resources are scarce, players are cast as sinners with million-year prison sentences, working off their time by battling for the state. The game is rich in story and lore, featuring a plethora of characters and a significant amount of text. The Japanese voice acting remains intact, adding authenticity to the narrative. However, the story can sometimes feel intrusive, overshadowing the core gameplay elements. The game's setting is meticulously crafted, enhancing the immersive experience with its Orwellian language and evidence of a totalitarian system. The game's greatest strength lies in its combat system and the sense of immersion in its dystopian world. The battles against gigantic cybernetic beasts called abductors are both challenging and satisfying, requiring teamwork and strategy. The game's third-person hack-and-slash and shoot battles are intense, though they can be time-consuming due to the abductor's strength. The crafting system is a highlight, allowing players to customize their arsenal with items found in battle. However, the game occasionally includes fights against smaller enemies, which can be frustrating due to the loose aiming system. Overall, Freedom Wars is a compelling addition to the PS Vita's library. Shinobido II. Shinobido II throws you into the shoes of Zen, a ninja caught up in a world where clans are constantly at each other's throats. The game is all about sneaking around, taking on missions like assassinations and thefts. It tries to give you this feel of being the only ninja for hire around, with your choices swaying how those clans see you. But honestly, the way the story and missions are set up can get kind of repetitive and even a bit confusing at times. From a gamer's perspective, Shinobido 2 is a bit of a mixed experience. The idea of being a ninja and messing with clan politics is cool, but the game doesn't quite nail it. The stealth action is okay, but sometimes it gets wonky, especially with enemies that don't always react the way you'd expect. Using the Vita's touchpad for the grappling hook feels a bit off, and the missions tend to recycle the same few locations. There are moments when you feel like a real ninja, pulling off slick stealth kills or using cool slow-mo moves, but they're kind of rare. The story tries to be engaging, but it's not told very well, and the voice acting doesn't help much. Overall, Shinobido 2 has some neat ideas, but ends up being a bit underwhelming due to its rough edges and repetitive gameplay. Virtua Tennis 4. Virtua Tennis 4 is pretty much the go-to tennis game for this console. It skips the story stuff and dives straight into some solid tennis action. You get to pick from well-known tennis pros and hit the courts in various matches and tournaments. The gameplay is super user-friendly, so pretty much anyone can jump in and have a good time, but it's also got enough depth to keep the more hardcore tennis fans engaged. Plus, the different types of courts actually affect how the ball moves, which is a neat touch. There is also a career mode where you can level up your own tennis star, adding a bit of strategy to the mix. The graphics are pretty slick for a portable game and the animations are smooth. They've also made good use of the Vita's touchscreen and gyro controls, which adds a bit of extra fun to the gameplay. It's not super complex like a full-on tennis sim, but it's definitely entertaining and worth playing. If you're into sports games and looking for something fun to play on the Vita, Virtua Tennis 4 is a solid pick. XIII Lacrimosa of Dana on the PS Vita is this action-packed RPG that's all about fast moves and a great story. You play as Adol Kristin, a guy who ends up on this mysterious island after a shipwreck. The game's a mix of exploring this wild island, fighting off all sorts of creatures, and digging into the island's secrets. The combat's real-time and pretty intense, and you've got a bunch of skills and weapons to take down enemies. Plus, there's Dana, another key character who adds a whole new layer to the story. The island's got all these different places to check out, from dense forests to old ruins. The combat is smooth and keeps you on your toes, mixing action and some strategy. The story is engaging with characters that are interesting and a plot that keeps you hooked. The game looks great on the Vita, with detailed environments and characters. The music is also a big plus, adding to the game's feel. Sure, the Vita version might not have everything the bigger consoles do, but it still delivers a solid RPG experience. Borderlands II ambitiously brings the full experience of its console counterpart to a handheld format. This includes the 2 DLC character classes and all major expansions, making it a content-rich offering for Vita players. The game maintains its core gameplay of looting, upgrading, and engaging in combat within a vast open-world environment. However, the transition to the Vita comes with noticeable compromises. The sound has been compressed, and many textures and effects have been simplified. Despite these changes, the game still manages to capture the essence of the Borderlands experience, albeit in a scaled-down form. It is apparent that while the game is an impressive technical feast, its performance issues significantly impact the overall experience. The game struggles with maintaining a consistent frame rate, often leading to a less fluid gameplay experience. The control scheme also presents challenges, with vital functions like sprint and melee assigned to the Vita's less responsive rear touchpad. These issues detract from what is otherwise a fun and engaging game. Borderlands 2 on the Vita showcases the potential for complex console games to be ported to handheld devices, but it also highlights the limitations and challenges of such an endeavor. Resident Evil Revelations 2. Resident Evil Revelations 2 is a real treat for fans of the survival horror genre. It's a sequel that sticks to the classic Resident Evil formula, mixing creepy vibes with some solid action. You get to play through a couple of side stories, dress up your characters in cool costumes, and dive into a raid mode with extra maps and characters like Hulk and Albert Wesker. The gameplay is all about that tense, edge-of-your-seat experience where you're dealing with all sorts of freaky enemies and unraveling a story that keeps you hooked. From a gamer's point of view, Resident Evil Revelations 2 hits the mark for a horror game on the Vita. It's got all the spooky elements you'd want, plus the added bonus of extra content to keep things interesting. The latest patch has smoothed out a lot of the gameplay, making it a smoother ride. Sure, it might not look as flashy as it does on the bigger consoles, but it still pulls you into its eerie world. If you're into getting a bit scared and love the Resident Evil series, this game is a solid pick. It's more than just jump scares. It's about getting lost in a creepy, suspenseful adventure. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 features a diverse roster of characters from both the Marvel and Capcom universes, engaging players in fast-paced tag team battles. The gameplay is dynamic, with each character bringing their unique abilities and special moves to the fight. The plot, while not the main focus, provides an entertaining context for these iconic characters to clash in spectacular combat. The Vita version maintains the core mechanics and visual style of its console counterparts, offering a full-fledged fighting game experience on the go. It's clear that the game successfully captures the essence of the console version. The graphics are impressive for a handheld device, and the controls are well adapted to the Vita's layout. The game's roster is diverse, providing a wide range of fighting styles. While transitioning to a smaller screen could have been challenging, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 manages to deliver an engaging and visually appealing experience. Final Fantasy X HD. Final Fantasy X HD takes you on an epic adventure in Spyra, tagging along with Tidus, a blitzball star, and Yuna, a summoner on a mission. They are out to save their world from Sin, a huge threat that's all about destruction. The game mixes up a solid story with some classic turn-based battles, character growth, and a bunch of different places to explore. It's got a lot of heart, dealing with big themes like sacrifice and fighting against density, which really pulls you into the story. It is a remarkable adaptation of a classic. The game's transition to the Vita includes fine-tuned HD characters, monsters, and environments, enhancing the visual experience significantly. The remastered background music and inclusion of International Edition content add depth to the game. Key features like autosave and game boosters, such as high speed and no encounter modes, make the gameplay more accessible and enjoyable. The game's ability to blend a captivating story with deep gameplay mechanics makes it a timeless classic, appealing to both longtime fans and newcomers. Limbo. Limbo is an eerie, super atmospheric game that really makes you think. You play this little kid who wakes up in a creepy dark forest and has to figure out how to survive. The gameplay is about solving puzzles and overcoming obstacles, but it's not your usual jump and run deal. The puzzles can get pretty tricky, and you've got to be on your toes to make it through. The whole vibe of the game is kind of dark and mysterious, which makes figuring things out even more interesting. So it's a pretty unique experience on the Vita. The game's all about simplicity in its look and sound, which actually make it more intense. The black and white graphics and the subtle background noises pull you right into this spooky world. The smaller screen of the Vita doesn't quite capture the full effect, but it's still pretty impressive. What really hits hard in Limbo is how it handles the whole life and death thing. It's pretty harsh, but in a way that makes you really feel for the little guy you're playing. Every puzzle you solve feels like a big win, and that keeps you hooked. If you're into games where you really get pulled into the story, Limbo is definitely worth a play. PixelJunk Shooter Ultimate. PixelJunk Shooter Ultimate, developed by Double 11, combines the original PixelJunk Shooter and its sequel into one cohesive package. This fusion enhances the experience, making it feel consistent and contiguous. The game revolves around navigating a ship through 2D environments to rescue scientists from underground experiments gone wrong. The gameplay is a blend of using analog sticks for precise control and strategic use of elements like lava, water, ice, and gas to solve puzzles and progress through levels. The game's puzzle-based nature is balanced with action, providing an experience that is both challenging and rewarding. It is a well-crafted addition to the PlayStation catalog. The upgraded graphics and new HUD enhance the visual appeal, while the gameplay remains engaging and enjoyable. The campaign is lengthy, offering substantial content for completionists. The boss battles are particularly noteworthy, each presenting unique mechanics that keep the gameplay fresh. While the Vita version may occasionally feel a bit slower compared to its console counterpart, it doesn't detract from the overall enjoyment. In conclusion, wrapping up, the PS Vita really knocked it out of the park with some visually stunning games that push the boundaries of handheld gaming. You've got games that make you feel like you're holding a mini blockbuster, with environments so detailed they could be on a big screen. Then there are those action-packed titles with visuals so sharp they blur the line between portable and console gaming. And let's not forget the games that mix unique art styles with fluid animations, creating worlds that are a blast to explore.